Hello, 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 hello. Thank you for tuning in for Real Talk. Listen, are you really ready for marriage? You sure that you're ready for marriage? I think there's some things that you need to ask yourself before you decide to say I do, because the work don't stop just because you said I do. Just because you got him to walk down the aisle or you got her to walk down the aisle, that's not the work. The work starts once you say I do. That's when the real work starts. And guess what? It's going to continue forever to death do you part. It's work. It's going to be continued work. It's going to be a lifelong process. So, are you ready to deal with the complexities of another human being? Are you ready to deal with the mind of another human being? Are you ready to deal with their issues, what they're bringing from their family history? Are you ready to deal with what they bring in from their experiences throughout the years? Are you ready to deal with their ideas, their attitudes, their mood swings, their sicknesses, their illnesses, their ups, their downs, their ideologies? Are you ready to deal with that? Because that's what comes with marriage, right? Is two individuals coming together as one, trying to do life as best as possible. And it means that you have to work together. It is a continuing process of finding out how do we adjust. So throughout your married life, you're constantly adjusting. Marriage is about adjusting. You are adjusting when you have children. You are adjusting when one starts a new job. You are adjusting when you decide to move from one city to the other. You are adjusting when you buy your first home. You are adjusting when you handle bills and who's going to take care of what and how it's going to be done. You are adjusting how to resolve and handle family conflict. You are adjusting when you're making decisions. Are we going to allow family members to stay over at the house? Or if they lose their homes, can they come and live with us for a while or not? You're adjusting. It is a constant adjustment. And sometimes you don't make your significant other happy. Sometimes there are hard decisions that have to be made. Sometimes there are going to be issues. Sometimes there are going to be a time when you have to, that's all the time, when you're going to have to listen and hear the other person out and find out, why are you hurting? What's wrong? What did I do? Why are you mad at me? Why did this go this way? Why is that this way? You know? And you have to consider the other one. Your life is really not your own at that point, you know? It's not. You have to consider your spouse, and some people don't understand that. Some people don't want to adjust their life. And if that's you, marriage is not for you. It is not even for the weak, right? You have to be strong in a marriage because there are some things you're going to have to deal with. Oh, if one lose their job, that's adjusting. You have to figure out how you're going to manage. You know, ladies, you have to continue to allow your husband to lead. Can you do that when your guys are going through family trials and hardships and things that happen out of nowhere? Can you do that? You know? Fellas, can you deal with her emotional changes? Are you ready? Have y'all discussed things that could happen throughout the marriage? Are you guys preparing for hard times? Are you guys preparing for difficulties? You know, marriage is not a walk in the park. And anyone who thinks so is unwise, and you're headed for destruction. So if you want marriage, you need to go ahead and prepare for the worst. And I'm not talking about just that you can't be happy about your marriage and you're not going to be excited. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is be prepared to go through some things. Be prepared to do a lot of praying, do a lot of seeking God, do a lot of communicating. And that's another thing. If you're not able to communicate, you're not one to communicate, you're not ready to communicate, then why do you want to be married? Because communication is very important in a marriage. It's not about selfishness. Are you ready to be unselfish? Because in a marriage, you have to be unselfish, right? You got to be prepared for anything. And you got to be willing to work with the other person to make the best out of your life and out of your relationship. So are you ready for that partnership? Are you ready to deal with another human being? And that's what I always say, is that you're taking two different human beings with their own, I think I said owned, own mind, right? You cannot change anybody but yourself. You can only be an influence. That's all you can do. So you're taking on the character, the mind of someone else, and they're taking on your mind. Y'all coming together and you're trying to figure things out and how to work together. I believe it's a beautiful thing, but are you ready for the work that comes with it? Think about that. Really think about that, because marriages are failing at a high rate, and it's unnecessary in my opinion, because I believe that so many people get married just because it looks good and sound good. A lot of people who get married don't have the least bit of concern about the other person. They don't have the least bit of respect for a marriage and what it represents. So what is the point? Obviously, because it sounds good, it feels good at the moment, it looks good at the time, and they just want to go ahead and just play with someone else's life. Or you play with your own life and your own time and your own energy. Is that necessary? Why? Why not do like some of these folks who taking their precious time to get married and coming up with all the excuses in the world why not to get married? You know, be that person. But don't go into a marriage thinking that there's not going to be any work to be put into it, because that's not the truth. Anyway, I wish you guys well, and I hope that you're willing to put your best effort at having a beautiful life with someone who you love and who you're willing to share your complexities with, who you're willing to share life with, who you're willing to share your ups and downs with. Someone who you love just that much to go through good and bad. Until next time, be blessed.